Well, in a span of 24 hours, India saw two honourable members of parliament, one from the BJP and the other from the BSP, arrested in murder cases. The arrests only prove how difficult it will be to clean up India's political system, despite that entire debate we've had all year on ending the reign of criminal MPs. And if the list of candidates for the assembly polls is anything to go by so far, then things may not change very soon.
Lawmakers on the wrong side of the law. BJP's Junagadh MP Dinu Bhoga Solanki was arrested on Tuesday for the murder of RTI activist Amit Jetwa. And BSP MP Dhananjay Singh was arrested in connection with the death of a domestic help in his house. Both cases reopened the debate on criminals in politics, but their respective parties are downplaying the arrests.
Law will take its own course.
जो भी दोषी हैं उनको सजा मिलनी चाहिए.
The arrests come days after the Association for Democratic Reforms revealed that of the 143 candidates contesting 18 assembly constituencies in the Chhattisgarh elections, 15 are facing criminal charges and 6 of the 15 face serious charges. All parties seem equally guilty. The BJP has fielded 3 such candidates, the Congress has fielded 2, the BSP 2 and the Samajwadi Party 1.
There are certain NGOs who are doing research, but their research lacks credibility many times.
I am not going to say take any action unless the law and order agency take first steps.
Ironically, just last month, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi struck down an ordinance moved by the Congress-led government that would have shielded convicted lawmakers. The Supreme Court had in July ruled that convicted lawmakers should be disqualified. So why have parties, especially the Congress, yet again fielded candidates facing criminal charges?
The winnability factor is something which they are keeping in their mind. They feel that these are the candidates who can get them that particular constituency.
The long line of ticket seekers at party offices is only growing. In fact, till now, if citizens were unhappy with the choices that they had, there was very little that they could do. But now finally, with the Supreme Court and the Election Commission paving the way with the nota option or none of the above button, they finally have a choice. Reform campaigners said this will not only help increase the polling percentage, but also force parties to finally field candidates who are cleaner. In New Delhi, Siddharth Pandey for NDTV.
Well, is that really going to happen? Will parties be forced to field cleaner candidates, or are we going to see more of the same, especially in the upcoming elections, both for the state assemblies as well as the general elections? Joining us on the program tonight from the BJP, we have its senior leader from Gujarat, Mr. Jainarayan Vyas. Also with us, Randeep Surjewala, spokesperson of the Congress party and minister in the Haryana government. We have Harish Bijur joining us tonight from Bangalore, and we have Anurag Mittal from the Association of Democratic Reforms that has been putting together this data on MPs and their backgrounds. And he's here in the studio with us. Let me first ask Mr. Vyas though. Mr. Vyas, you have an MP, a member of parliament from the BJP who's been arrested in a murder case of an RTI activist yesterday. And the BJP has been very silent on this very important issue in the last 24 hours.
Well, I don't think we are silent. We have made it amply clear that let the law take its own course. And I would further add to it, we had also expressed our apprehensions about the behavior of the CBI, which appears to be more working like a Congress Bureau of Investigation rather than the Central Bureau of Investigation. Coming as close to the general elections as it is, you know, it is not the needle of suspicion also is pointed towards them that why at this hour, this kind of all of a sudden kind of actions, and why some kind of an action which will create an adverse impression or intimidate the honorable MP who is coming from that area. I mean, we are at a loss to understand why CBI all of a sudden has become so active.
But this is a case that's been investigated for a while. There is a
If
relative,
guilty,
there is a relative of the
no
MP
doubt
that has
about it.
also been involved. I mean, are you suggesting that this arrest is a political conspiracy then? Because that's what everybody says when there's a criminal charge or a serious accusation like this leveled against them across party lines. It's not unique to you.
Well, I would say only, Nidhi, that, you know, nobody in the right sense of mind would support anybody with a criminal background. And I think now, with the Supreme Court's intervention and fortunately that ordinance being struck down, I think the way is paved for cleansing up of the entire domain. But this is going to be a process, and the process will take its own time. Till such time, I think the dictum prevails is that unless somebody is pronounced guilty, he is innocent. So, I mean, the word used is convicted, and if somebody is not convicted, I think that's all. As far as the law is concerned, he is not a person who is pronounced guilty.
He's not, but it's a serious charge.
That's
And it's a
what we
murder
have to
charge.
understand.
And yet Randeep Surjewala, we'll find these accusations going back and forth. Now the BJP says that this is a political conspiracy to frame a member of parliament. The problem also here is, Randeep Surjewala, is that there's very little political faith left in the CBI today. The agency too has such little credibility that even if legitimate arrests are made, whichever party it may be, the opposition will always cry foul.
Nidhi, in fact, I find Mr. Jainarayan Vyas' defense of Mr. Digu Solanki, the BJP MP from Gujarat, shocking. He forgets that Mr. Amit Jethwa was not a congressman. He was an RTI activist who exposed large-scale illegal mining in the area where the Asiatic lion is situated in the Gir area. And he filed a petition in the High Court of Gujarat. 10 days after filing the petition, he was killed in front of Gujarat High Court. He wrote since 2008 to Shri Narendra Modi for providing him security, which was successively denied. The Gujarat police gave a clean chit to both the member of parliament of BJP as also to his nephews. Gujarat High Court intervened and passed strictures against Gujarat government. That is when the case was referred to CBI. And CBI has now arrested him. Instead of throwing such a person out of his party, who is accused of being a murderer of an RTI activist, who also filed a case for appointment of Lok Ayukt in Gujarat, Mr. Vyas seems to be defending him. That is the problem with our polity per se. And I suppose this is the problem that Shri Rahul Gandhi, with all the criticism that we have faced from the media, set to undo when he rejected and made his government and party change stance on an ordinance that was protecting convicted leaders, netas. And he said, there is no time to correct yourself. It is not about opportunism, it is about opportunity to cleanse
we know what
the
he
system.
said,
and
but I am
quote
going
him.
to ask you about political double standards on this across party lines, because it's not like the system is getting cleaned up very soon. But Mr. Vyas, you wanted to respond to that, because Mr. Vyas, when you say that the BJP is not going to support anybody with a criminal background, I mean, what about Vittal Radadia? No, what about Vittal Radadia? What about him? I mean, is every case going to be a political conspiracy?
Why sharp focus on nobody? I in the very beginning said that if somebody is guilty, he should be brought to books. Let the law take its own course. Nobody defends them. And let me tell Mr. Surjewala very politely that there was a time when Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was also framed in a charge sheet for Bofors. Now, are you going to tell that Rajiv Gandhi was guilty of Bofors?
I find
If
that
you are saying
completely
so, I have no problem accepting
absurd.
it.
Sir, what about Babu Bhai Bokadia, who is a convict?
And don't try to
he
make Rahul Gandhi larger than the
hear.
life size. We never supported that ordinance. First, you created a drama of
You did, sir.
Claiming the ordinance, and then your vice president all of a sudden from nowhere appears out
Well,
of
we're
the
not
blue,
here to talk
and
about
he
the
appears
ordinance.
out.
We're here to
And
talk
with
about
that,
the fact.
The credit and credibility of Prime Ministerial Office
But
also
we're
goes
here to
the
talk about
air.
the fact that it will be much
So what are we
harder.
talking?
It will be much harder to clean up the system than we think. And I want to bring in the ADR in on this, because Mr. Mittal, what do your statistics tell you, for instance, which we had a glimpse of that in our story, about the first phase of in Chhattisgarh and the list of candidates there? There are criminal elements again who have got, or people with serious criminal charges who have got tickets, and again that cuts across party lines. Tell us what your statistics say.
See, in the news clipping which you have just shown, obviously the statistics has been given. There are 143 candidates in the first phase, and out of those 143 candidates, 15 candidates have criminal cases. Out of them, there are 6 candidates who have serious criminal cases. Now, again, I wanted to reiterate one important point, that this information which we are sharing, this is purely based on the affidavits which have been filed by these particular candidates. So, let me first of all clear this particular point, that this is a subjective data. This is not subjective. This is entirely based on the data which they have given. Second thing, I want to stress that in each party there are good candidates, but they don't get an opportunity to come forward. There are some reasons behind why these criminal elements are repeatedly coming. If we have seen in 2008 and if we are seeing currently, because there is a criminal and a money power nexus. Something very important I want to stress upon, these criminal elements, why they are fielded? Because there are corporate donations, corporate backings which are there behind find these particular, and this is something based on the analysis I'm speaking. Once they come into power, these particular corporates want to use them to get participation, maybe in the public sector, private projects. One is the corporate donations part, which I'm saying why these criminal elements are coming, since we are having the discussion around that. Second thing is the judicial process. There is such a long delay process, like the kind of technology which is there, it's completely a bullet card technology. The parties very clearly knows that once a criminal case is filed, it will take 3 terms, 4 terms, like if you've seen the historical past, in a couple of cases, 15 years, 20 years. So by that time, you are able to cross 3 terms.
But tell us the breakup.
Let me just finish up. Yeah, just important. So one is the judicial reforms, which is not there, which is very much needed. Why these criminal elements are coming? Because they know that the winnability factor is through these particular, like these tainted candidates. The police reforms. Why these FIRs are registered? These FIRs are registered because they know the charge sheet, there will be delays in the charge sheet, the files will disappear. And the last point for this criminalization, which I want to stress upon, is the caste-based politics. Okay, these are the kind of freebies which we will be giving. These are the kind of irregular colonies which will be regularized. So the clean candidates which are there in each party, I want to stress that they are not able to come forward, and these criminal elements repeatedly are coming forward.